Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Welcome to So That Just Happened, a podcast for those who have lost their person and want to find themselves. I'm Carly Cooper, a single mom, widow, coach, author, and chronic truth seeker. My superpower is finding the funny, the hope, and the silver lining in any shit situation. This podcast is for the purpose of education only and is not a replacement for therapy. If you need additional support, please seek out a trained professional for help with your specific situation. Let's get to it, shall we? Well, hello again. It's been a while, and to be honest, I wasn't entirely sure I was coming back. Yeah, it's been a time. And I didn't think I had it in me to return and commit to starting this podcast again. And if I'm really being honest, these past few months have really kicked my ass. I've been feeling like I did in the early days after Mark's death. Lost, scattered, unmotivated, extremely emotional, full of self-doubt, and questioning what my purpose is. These feelings of uncertainty have thrown me for a real loop because I thought I was done with all these dark feelings and intense emotions. I naively believed that I put in my time and did the appropriate work to heal, that I had passed this level of grief. I mean, I was able to bring down my protective wall, open up my heart again and find love. I was able to figure out how to do this podcast without any previous experience. I thought things were trucking along pretty nicely, until they weren't. On the season 1 finale, I left on a high. I was proud of myself for putting out 19 episodes of this podcast, and I was ready for a well-earned break and to really enjoy all the amazing things that summer can bring. Warmer weather, bluer skies, lazy cottage days, and with my son scheduled to be gone for 2 months, I would have the freedom to just be and do without having to factor in his feelings. And right or wrong, after experiencing the loss we went through, I'm very sensitive to his feelings. I don't want to be another source of his pain, even when it creates more pain and suffering for me. More on that fucked upness later as I continue to unpack and work through it myself first. All that to say, I was excited about having the mental break. I was hopeful that I was going to have a fun, carefree summer with a great tan. Now, I've never had a great tan, so that should have been my first sign of delusion. I'm not saying the summer was all bad. I got to go to a few cottages, had some nice backyard hangouts, and experienced a few magical moments with my boyfriend, like hearing Tears for Fears perform their song Woman in Chains live at their concert. It was perfection. You should YouTube it. But the carefree, romantic, fun summer that I was hoping for, it got cut short. My son was supposed to go to camp for the entire summer. But on day 3, there was a gastro outbreak at camp, and he called me in a panic wanting to leave the puke-infested environment. And how could I deny him? This is literally one of my worst nightmares, and I don't blame him one bit for wanting to get the fuck out. The back and forth of, is he coming home? Is he going to stay? It went on for a while, and the uncertainty of it all completely stressed me out. He ended up coming home for a few days, going back to camp, but then coming home for good after staying for only a month. And even though it changed my summer of freedom, I'm proud of him for going to camp at all. It's the camp that Mark directed for over 25 years. His imprint is everywhere there. And while others feel comforted by the fact that they can still feel his presence, it comes with a whole lot of layers and triggers for me and my son. So I commend his courage and his ability to put himself back in that environment for as long as he did. But once again, I found myself pivoting, adapting, and recalibrating. And then, to add insult to injury, my mother-in-law passed away in July. And while this wasn't a shock because she hadn't been well for a long time, it still hit me harder than I expected. Being back at the same cemetery where Mark is buried for the 3rd time in 3 years. Being surrounded by Mark's family again and coming to terms with the finality of it all. It reopened some wounds that had only recently started to close. Beyond just having fun this summer, I had plans to crush some work goals. I wanted to have at least 4 podcast episodes written, recorded, and set up to be released. I wanted to finish a course I had been working through on the ancient technique of dowsing. And I planned to have my Repurpose Your Life online program completed and ready to launch. And while I managed to do some of this, I found myself questioning everything in the process. My goals, my purpose, my why. I have spent the majority of my adult life chasing my purpose, trying to figure out what I am meant to do, operating from an energy of hustle and ambition. And while this is still ingrained in me, I find now, with everything that I've gone through in the past 2 years, the trauma, the grief, the new emotional baggage, and the hostile hormonal shifts that seem to be crashing the party, I just can't seem to pull it off anymore. Not in the same way I used to be able to. I don't have the mental bandwidth. I get drained faster than a public pool during a toddler swim class, and I can't seem to fake it until I make it the way I used to. And you know what? Thank God. Because what I am learning, not just in theory, but in actuality, is that repressing your true feelings, shaming by making yourself feel wrong, and putting pressure on yourself is not the way to truly heal. And right now, that's what I believe my real purpose is, to continue to truly heal, and then teach what I know. Even if I wish it were different and more glamorous, that's what I'm being called to do. It seems to be a lesson I keep having to learn, though. My low feelings and my physical aches and pains are a clear indication that my old operating system is no longer working for me. So instead of doing the career kind of work, I got back to doing the deeper inner soul-searching kind of work. Well, I never really left it. I'm always in my head about something, seeking truth and meaning. But the difference is now, I'm no longer trying to figure it all out on my own. I'm working with an energy healer to help me clear my deep emotional blocks and wounds at a cellular and chakra level. I've started up again with my spiritual business coach to help me get my creative juices flowing and follow a path that feels aligned with who I am and where I'm at now. And I hired a therapist to help me navigate and come up with healthy strategies to begin to put myself and my needs first again. I used to arrogantly believe that I could heal myself. I've read a ton of personal growth books. I made a career of helping others improve their lives for over 16 years. I have lived and breathed this shit for over 30 years. But I'm done with that outdated belief. Now I'm all about getting different kinds of help and support, talking about the uncomfortable stuff, admitting I don't have all the answers. I'm open to learning and hearing a different perspective, trying a new way. So even though this summer appeared less than ideal on paper and at times felt really heavy, and still does, it was actually the best thing that could have happened to me. It opened my eyes to what I still need to work on. I have to learn how to set stronger boundaries. I have to learn how to put my needs and wants before others, even when I know it's not going to be received well. I have to learn to be okay, even when others aren't okay. I have to learn how to give myself more grace in times when I just can't do what I plan to do. I have to learn to accept what is, even when I don't like it and it makes me feel uncomfortable. I have to learn how to better protect my energy. I have to let go of trying to make it easier for everyone else, which ends up making it harder for me. I have to remind myself that other people's happiness and well-being are not my responsibility or something I have to try and fix. I have to learn to find the calm in the chaos, and I have to learn to follow my heart even when the voices in my head are screaming much louder. This is why the path to true healing takes a village. It isn't a straight line, and it's a life mission. It never really ends, just like a video game. When one level is won, you move on to the next level. A level that is a bit more difficult, with more challenges and roadblocks. And chances are, It takes a few and sometimes many tries before you conquer that level and are able to move on. And what I'm also learning to accept is that it's in the real, intentional attempts, the stumbles, the falls, and the ability to pick yourself back up, dusty, dirty, more battered and bruised, but stronger and wiser, that make you victorious. And the realization that you may never reach the level of actually saving the princess. But maybe, just maybe, the princess is saving you by always remaining just a little out of reach. Because it's in the journey, the struggle, and the challenges that force you to level up, to rise above and grow. And even though it may not feel like it at the time, it's the challenges that make life interesting, where life is really lived and experienced. So, I have decided for now that I will continue to put out this podcast. Maybe not as frequently as I did in season 1, but we'll see how it goes. I have also decided to eventually release my Repurpose Your Life program and make it available to you. Because there's something inside me that still believes that there's someone out there who needs to level up, and I want to help if I can. So my intention for season 2 of the So That Just Happened podcast is to get down to work. I'll still interview some amazing, insightful, and inspirational people, but the bulk of this season, I plan to work my Reinvent Your Life program from where I'm currently at in my life and who I am now. I've done this work many times, but my circumstances have turned me into a different version of myself, and my values, goals, and desires have changed. So I feel like I need a tune-up. It's time to rework the program from where I am today, and I would love for you to do the work alongside me. I'll share more details about how at a later date, and when I figure it out. But for now, I would just love for you to remain open to trying new things, testing them out, staying committed to somehow, some way, doing the work to claw your way out of the darkness and inching your way towards the light. We will get there together. Sending you all my love. Bye for now. All right, my friends. Thank you so much for listening to this So That Just Happened podcast. I really hope you found value in this episode and that you're walking away with at least one golden nugget that you can implement or feel inspired by. I would be so grateful if you would share it with one friend or family member who is committed to moving forward and transforming their life. Make sure you subscribe so you can catch every new episode, and please leave me a review. It would mean so much to me. Also, follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Coach Carly. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.